Welcome. Tonight, we're not dealing with folklore in dusty books. We're looking at, something much closer to home, real encounters. We have 4 accounts, deeply unsettling from across the continent. The theme connecting them, it's mimicry. Entities that don't just hunt, they imitate. They wear familiar shapes. These are stories that make you question, what you think you see in the shadows, even in your own home.
And it's true, the fear of something stealing a likeness, shifting its shape, that's ancient. You find it everywhere. But these accounts, they suggest it's not just ancient history. It's something people are encountering right now.
Right. So let's get into the first one. This takes place in Arizona. It's sometimes called the stolen bark. It involves a family, frantic because their old German shepherd, Benny, he's gone missing in the woods. He was 14 years old. So the parents are out searching. The 2 teenage brothers are back at the house, waiting. It's late. Then they hear it, a bark from the woods. At first, relief. But then, confusion. The sound, it was Benny's bark, but not quite. It was described as too loud, unnaturally so, almost echoing. And it had this static quality, like a bad recording. And each bark sounded exactly the same as the last one. Too similar.
That detail.
Right.
It's significant. It suggests a capacity for imitation, yes, but maybe not for natural variation. Like, it gets the sound right, but not the life behind it.
Yeah.
An auditory clue, something's off.
Yeah. So the older brother, he grabs his dad's rifle. The younger one stays put. The older boy heads toward the trees. He's hearing this low whimpering sound now, guiding him. He shines his flashlight, and there's Benny, tail wagging. But as he gets closer, the relief just drains away. Something is terribly wrong. The dog, Benny, it was standing stiff, completely rigid, like taxidermy, no breathing. The sides weren't moving at all, just that tail wagging mechanically. And the eyes. So that was the worst part. They weren't dog eyes. They were described as large, wide, too much white showing, like looking into the eyes of a human stranger.
That rigidity, the eyes, it points towards something maybe struggling to hold that canine form. Perhaps its natural state is, different. Bipedal, even. The mimicry is good, but it's flawed at the biological level.
Exactly. Because as the brother raised the rifle, shaking the thing, it stood up onto its back legs, and then it just sprinted off deep into the woods. Running, he said, exactly like a man. They didn't find the real Benny then. His father and uncle found him about 15 minutes later, miles away by a lake. Already gone. The entity.
Yeah.
It was just projecting the voice, trying to lure them out.
A chillingly precise lure, using the familiar sound, the shape, almost perfectly.
Almost. Let's move to the second account. This one involves a different kind of mimicry, maybe more psychological. We're near Navajo lands here. And we should mention, respectfully, that discussions around certain lore, like skinwalkers, are considered sensitive. Even talking about them is sometimes said to attract unwanted attention.
Right. The lore itself carries a weight. And often in these traditions, the entities aren't just shapeshifters, they're corrupted figures, using mimicry for deeply malevolent personal reasons.
This story comes from a group of friends. They had an annual camping trip, sort of a tradition to honor a friend, Jeremy, who had passed away. So they're out there. Early one morning, the narrator's uncle decides to take a walk. It's calm, birds singing, breeze, typical morning in the woods. And then, suddenly, it stops. The birdsong just cuts out. The air gets heavy. An eerie and unusually silent feeling is how he described it. A sense of dread.
And that sudden silence, that shift in the environment, we see that recurringly in these types of encounter narratives. It's almost like the presence itself dampens the natural world.
So the uncle turns around, and he sees him. On a slightly raised bit of ground nearby, it's Jeremy, Jeremy's face. But it looked superimposed onto this weird, crooked body, and it was waving at him.
A very different approach than the Arizona case. Not an active lure with sound, but a static, horrifying image.
Absolutely. And the details of the face, Jeremy's face.
Yeah.
It had this slack jaw. The eyes were colorless and glazed over like there was a film across them. The expression never changed, just blank. And the limbs on this figure, they were described as torn and bloody.
So it's not trying to appear friendly despite the wave. It's presenting an image of trauma linked to their dead friend. It knew what would hurt them most.
They left immediately, packed up and got out. The uncle was convinced it wasn't Jeremy's spirit. It was something local, something malevolent that had observed them maybe on previous trips and learned enough to steal the most painful likeness it could find.
Weaponizing grief itself. That suggests a disturbing level of intelligence or perhaps predatory cunning.
Let's shift focus now, geographically and maybe in terms of the entity's behavior. We're going way north to the remote Alaskan wilderness, near a place called Dogfish Bay. This starts with a modern encounter, but it connects back. A paramedic is transporting an elderly Aleut man, probably in his 70s, from Port Graham. Just making conversation, the paramedic mentions he once had to shelter from bad weather near Dogfish Bay Lagoon years ago. And the old man, suddenly very serious, grabs his shirt, looks right at him and asks, "Did it bother you?"
That reaction, it's powerful. It instantly validates the paramedic's own experience, connecting it to something known, something perhaps feared by the local people for a long time.
Yeah. The old man said his own brother had seen it and been chased. So the paramedic shares his story. It was 1973. He and a friend were bow hunting, got caught in weather, set up a canvas tent near the lagoon. First night, around 2 a.m., they hear it. A distinct sound, a step, outside the tent. Like a man, he said, quietly walking, taking very deliberate steps. They were hunters. They knew bear sounds, moose sounds. This wasn't an animal. This presence slowly circled their tent. A deliberate, sneaking semicircle. Took maybe 20 minutes, then silence the next night. Same thing. Around 2:30 a.m. this time, the slow, quiet circling. They were terrified. Didn't dare leave the tent either night.
Just the sound, the deliberate movement, unseen, pure psychological pressure.
And the kicker, when daylight came after both nights, they finally looked outside. Nothing. No tracks, nothing.
No tracks.
Yeah.
Well, that opens up possibilities. Something incredibly light-footed, something not physically interacting with the ground in a normal way, or, as the old man implied, something else entirely. And, there's historical context that backs this up. Records from 1905 mention Aleut workers at a cannery right there near Dogfish Bay. They apparently abandoned their camp abrupt. Why? Because a hairy man was bothering them, frightened them so much they just had to leave. This predates, the big surge in modern Bigfoot stories. The Aleut people have their own name for such a being. Apparently doesn't translate well. Suggests a long-standing awareness of something out there.
A persistent, silent stalker, known for generations. Now, for our last account, we come back closer to civilization. A suburb, actually. Phoenix, Arizona again. This happened to someone driving home very late, maybe 3:00, 4 in the morning. Edge of the developed area, fields nearby. Suddenly, this figure bounces up out of a field on all fours, crosses the road right in front of the car. The speed was described as inhuman quickness, just incredibly fast. And then it stops, instantly, right on the other side of the road, turns and stares directly at the driver, makes eye contact. The body, the witness said, was completely black, simian, like an ape or a monkey, moving on all fours. But the face, that was the shock. It was, quote, a stark white human face, completely expressionless and white as snow. Not like Caucasian skin, but an unnatural, startling white, like a mask almost, but part of it.
That combination, the animalistic body, the speed, and then this stark, blank human face. It's deeply unsettling, a bizarre hybrid. What purpose would that serve? Observation, shock.
We don't know,
Wow.
But it wasn't a one-off. A few weeks later, same road, same time of night, it happened again. This time, the creature apparently climbed down from a tree near the road, bounded across, stopped on a dime, same spot, it just scared again. And the second time, the driver had a friend in the car who saw the exact same thing and apparently started, freaking out, as you'd expect.
Having a second witness is crucial. It confirms the objective reality of this entity, operating right there on the edge of a populated area, combining impossible speed with this chilling, static, human-like feature.
So when you put these four accounts together, Arizona, Navajo lands, Alaska, back to Phoenix,
Right.
What pattern emerges? We see flawed vocal mimicry used as a lure. We see psychological warfare using the face of grief. We see persistent, silent, untrackable stalking. And we see this high-speed hybrid thing with a human face right near our homes.
The common thread seems to be, intelligence and adaptability. These aren't just random monsters. They seem to choose their methods. Vocal lure for the isolated brothers. Visual trauma for the grieving friends. Stealth and dread for the hunters in the wilderness. And unsettling speed and appearance for the suburban encounter. They adapt. It suggests intelligences operating outside our understanding of animal or even human behavior. Their real forms, their ultimate goals, remain hidden. And that's terrifying.
It makes you wonder if they can mimic voices, faces, movements. How good could they get? How close could they be? These stories are disturbing, but we believe they need to be examined. If you feel the same, if you find these accounts compelling, please help us continue this work, like this deep dive. Share it with others who aren't afraid to look into the shadows. And please subscribe to Horror Docs. We have more unsettling truths to uncover. Until next time, watch your back.